Hello and welcome to the Dancewell podcast with me, Danielle Mitzman. If you're not familiar with Dancewell, the clue's in the name because it's a project that promotes dance and well-being. Taking place in museum spaces and artistic contexts, it's free and open to anyone, but was devised above all to give people with Parkinson's and other movement issues the opportunity to dance. Since 2022, Dancewell's been supported by the EU's Creative Europe programme and has partners in France, the Czech Republic, Lithuania and Germany. But it began 10 years ago in the North Italian town of Bassano del Grappa, and that's where we're going now. Every summer, the dancers prepare a show with a guest choreographer and are invited to take part in the town's annual Opera Estate Festival as part of the B-Motion dance programme.
Short branches, broken branches and long branches. So you can...
I had the privilege of attending their dress rehearsal and all 4 of their performances. In this podcast, we'll meet some of this year's dancers and audience and those who helped create their intensely moving performance based on memory and nature. And what more appropriate backdrop than the sound of cicadas in the August heat?
My name is Mia Habib. I am a dancer and choreographer based in Oslo, Norway. Here in Bassano, I have been working with the group of Dancewell dancers, making a piece for the festival. It's called How to Score Bassano.
Bring your branch and then you're not in a hurry.
Sono Arianna Pupetti.
I'm Arianna Pupetti. I live in Venice. And I discovered Dancewell 6 or 7 years ago.
Mi
chiamo Gabriele, sono Dancewell dancer.
My name is Gabriele. I've been a Dancewell dancer for 5.5 years now, since the beginning of 2019.
2019.
Io mi chiamo Daniela Scotton.
My name is Daniela Scotton. I was born in Bassano and I live in Bassano. I started in November 2014 and I do it every year. I don't think I've ever missed one. I stay here instead of going on holiday because I like it so much.
Mi piace questa cosa.
Giuse. My name's Giuse. It's really Giuseppina, but that's ridiculously long.
Paola Bertoncello.
Giuliana.
Io sono Marinka.
Nadia.
When I met the Dancewell dancers, I knew that I wanted to work with a score through the idea of touch. But touch in many different ways. And I think the word for touch in Italian is toccare, no? So this word I feel in Italian also has been like our mantra from the beginning. So the idea of a physical touch between the dancers. Then also this idea of a kind of what does it mean to touch through different senses? And what does it mean to touch the audience? So through the senses, through the use of space, through the use of sound.
Trees became the key to unlocking the dancers' memories, the sounds and scents of their swishing branches becoming a focal part of the final performance.
Quando lei ha illustrato il progetto, a me si sono illuminate 1000 luci. Sono andata a comprare.
When she illustrated the project, my mind lit up with 1,000 lights. I went to buy books. I remembered that my father had left me as an inheritance a small chestnut wood. Well, of course I knew, but I had clean forgotten about it. And I suddenly realized that I had a treasure.
Così ho detto, ma allora io ho una ricchezza.
Noi abbiamo fatto una settimana di residenza a giugno.
We did a week's residency in June, where we began with some physical exercises, and then she gave us some homework to do. Actually, we started first with the practice relating to trees.
Gli alberi.
Con la ricerca della memoria.
We did research about memory, about family, about grandparents. We could write, we could remember, we could sing. We could go in search of the things that reminded us of everything to do with nature, so to do with ourselves, since we're part of nature, even though we seem to have forgotten that.
Siamo dimenticate.
Ci siamo trovati un paio di volte prima della settimana di...
We met a couple of times before the residency week to begin to get into the mood of the performance and the practices we'd be doing. We discovered that we would be using the branches, that we would play them, making vibrations on them, and that these branches would be part of the creative process.
Sarebbero stato parte del processo creativo.
We're also working with this idea of vibration, so how can the body of the dancers also touch the audience physically, but maybe through a non-human material? So we're using the branches to kind of send vibration. So the audience will feel vibration and in this sense also feel the body of the dancer through this branch.
Before this one, I'd never done shows. I always just did the classes. So this one with Mia is the first choreography I've done in front of people. So for an audience.
The
most important thing I managed to do was to free myself from the idea that having an illness was a stigma, a condition to be hidden. Because culturally there's this idea, especially in provincial Italy, that illness is something to be hidden or accepted.
Arianna is one of 2 dancers with early onset Parkinson's. The other is Eva, who's been performing with Dancewell since 2015.
È stato bello vedere come ci siamo connesse una con l'altra.
It was nice to see how we connect with each other, but without needing to give each other physical support. It's not like she'd come in and I'd support her if she couldn't walk. One of the first things I said to the Dancewell teachers was, only help me if I ask you to, otherwise you make me feel like an absolute invalid.
Mi fate sentire veramente malata.
It's helpful to see how she deals with things, and she's definitely an inspiring example for me of how I should never give up when I have difficult moments. It's sometimes tough because I ask myself if I'd be able to react like she does if those things happened to me. At other times, she's just a dancer, like all the others, and that's something I like.
Fare parte di un immaginario o cambiare il proprio immaginario è la rivoluzione più grande.
Being part of a collective imagination and changing one's own is, in my opinion, the greatest revolution a human being can make. Because it means acquiring new ways of looking at the world and at oneself. So in my opinion, when Dancewell offers you practices based on image-related stimuli, that allows you to use your imagination and your creativity in a different way, in a way that's connected to your movements, so it can become a daily revolution. I mean, you can move differently in the world because you have a different perception of what you're doing. And this is a gift for everyone, not just for those with an illness.
E questo è un regalo per tutti, non solo per chi ha una malattia.
Before coming to Italy to work personally with the dancers, Mia enlisted the help of local Dancewell teacher Ilaria Marcolin as assistant choreographer.
This is the 3rd project out of Dancewell classes in which I'm involved. And the thing that I found different is that we really touch the personal space. Usually I've never done it.
A me diciamo che la cosa che ha mosso molto è
The thing that really moved me was this connection with nature that I felt very strongly right from the start, which of course reawakened memories of when I was a child. I lived in the hills and it really felt like I'd returned to being a child again when I was always in the woods and the meadows.
Suonare il ramo a me ha ricordato
Playing the branches like instruments reminded me that I used to play leaves. We'd put them between our lips and make them whistle. And then talking about nursery rhymes inevitably reminded me of my parents, who I lost recently. So there was also this connection with death.
In other projects, also in Dancewell classes, I never went so close to these memories, these personal emotions, because you never know how they can react. I always search for make them enjoy the class and not like feeling sad, because they are not here for feeling sad. So it's really a tricky thing to work on these things. And this time with Mia, she really wanted to go there.
I think I've been surprised by how deep the dancers go and how generous they are. How they go in an unconditional way and they allow themselves to let go and just go deeply into whatever emotion in the process and whatever memory brings. And they're also very vocal about it, which maybe is also culture, because I live in Norway and it's a different culture, and I experience at least this group of being very warm and very kind of open and unconditional about what they feel and what they remember. And this has somehow surprised me and touched me very deeply.
Mia ha colto le cose essenziali, poi l'ha messa.
Mia gathered the essential elements and put them all in this project together with trees, with nature. She also reflected what we do at Dancewell in the way she promoted our positive aspects, because at Dancewell there is no right and wrong and everyone tries to do the best they can. I hadn't found this anywhere else, so it was a real discovery to feel free with dance. You feel free and you don't feel judged, you don't feel criticised. Well, for me, there's nothing better.
Non ti senti criticata, questo per me è il massimo.
And then most importantly, you will see the performance today with the Dancewell dancers and how the score. It's an amazing group of people and also dancers, because I clearly feel that they have a very long history of working with different Dancewell teachers, different choreographers. So I feel I've been meeting a group of very experienced dancers and performers, but also people who have lived life. And this adds something really special for me. And of course also the mix of people with and without Parkinson's, and what kind of space it creates of care, of listening, and also of accepting that we have different bodies, and how do we negotiate our difference and see it also as a strength.
Mi sento forte perché mi sento protetta dal contesto.
I feel strong because I feel protected by the context, by the actions I do with my companions, and by Mia overseeing us as the choreographer who put this process together.
Cambia proprio anche I rapporti che hai con le persone.
It really changes the relationships you have with people, your interactions. Because when you dance, when you're close, you look into each other's eyes. You see the movements of others, and you imitate theirs, or invite them to imitate yours. It's rather like life. In order to get along with others, you have to listen to them a lot. You have to know how to follow them and how to imitate their positive aspects and correct those that aren't.
Il gruppo misto ti aiuta veramente.
The mixed group really helps you, not only on a physical level, but also on a mental level. You start to think like a healthy person instead of like a sick person. You forget you have Parkinson's or any other illnesses, and it truly opens you up. I don't know if you can see the rainbow appearing from my head when I dance.
And you will also meet their work and their writings and their thoughts in the Living Archive, which is the...
Despite the stifling summer heat, the 4 afternoon performances attract large crowds. The venue is a simple school gym. The staircase walls down are lined with pages of the score. On entering the space, the audience is invited to explore the living archive by experiencing the Forest of Care. Suspended branches decked with photos, poems and writings of and by the dancers.
I am Monzer Alzafari, and I was part of creating the Living Archive. And what I found fascinating about Dancewell is this continuity, right? It's not something that happens once and end. It's something that continue. And with continuation comes sharing, it's come this generosity, it comes strength of a community. This is what fascinates me about Dancewell, is the ability to be consistent in terms of maintaining the project.
As an outsider who's been invited in, Liam perceives an affinity between the subject Mia chose and Dancewell itself.
You plant a seed and you be with it grow. Not like watch it from distance grow. No, but nurture it and be within it and be next to it. And I think for our politicians, it's really important to understand the importance and the strength of art project that can live longer. That it's not this, consuming art, like doing a project, it's done, jump to the next. And I think for us, also creators, we are drawn to this cycle of, okay, from project to project. But I think there is strength, there is importance, and there is beauty, and there is all goodness in this long form projects that we have been hosted in, and we could sense it.
Having immersed themselves in the forest of care, the dancers gently invite the audience to take their seats for the performance. A performance which evolves from the stage space to an interaction with individual members of the public, offering them one end of a branch to hold, then connecting with them through vibrations and whispered songs. There's time for everyone who wants to savour the experience. The performance culminates in an invitation to get up and join the dancers in a circle, holding hands for a joyful giro giro tondo, the Italian equivalent of ring a ring a roses.
Songs that also kind of carry historical moments, some histories from Second World War come up, but also in bringing these songs in meeting the audience, I realized that the audience also start to talk about their memories with these songs, and they're also touched by remembering a grandparent or a parent singing. And it's also a way to touch the community. So we end the performance of doing this Giro Giro Tondo song, which is an Italian children's song. And in this context, we've realized that the audience, the Italian audience, they know this song, but that it's also touching new aspects of the song. So for the many in the audience, we've had the feedback that they also suddenly read this children's song in a new way. And it turns, I think, also gives some new perspective to childhood and even then to the future of what earth are we living on, what are the prospects of the future, and yes, that there are many, many layers that are both happy and maybe sad, and we are kind of walking into the unknown with many emotions at the same time.
I cried. Tears say everything. I was truly moved. The message really reached me. They were so good.
I think in general it was really good.
What did you like?
I loved when they bashed the sticks around. And I loved the girotondo.
Meraviglia.
Astonishment. As a dancer myself, I'm much more impressed by real people who dance.
They were very engaging, and the performance was also very clear. Seeing their movements and exploring this idea of the forest, the trees, the branches, it was really captivating. We were almost following the story of trees. Movement, the wind, the storm, the calm, coming together, surviving. And the Giro Giro Tondo at the end was great fun.
Giro Giro Tondo finale, troppo divertente.
Molto potente l'utilizzo della voce.
The use of the voice, which then became choral, was very powerful, as was the sense of group. It was nice to be involved by the group and become a part of the show.
E diventare spettacolo.
Vedo sempre molto liberante
I always find it very liberating to be able to express oneself in this way, giving space to the emotions that things arouse. I imagine that no two shows are the same, but rather partly improvised in the moment, and I feel this is very natural, very beautiful, and very liberating for the people who do it.
Ho sentito molto profumo arrivare.
The scent reached my nose immediately. After the initial calm, I clearly perceived sounds and aromas, which really allowed me to re-evaluate the space around me. Colors and people, something that comes to life, changes, and adapts. Something extremely natural.
Qualcosa di estremamente naturale.
Sono ancora tutta emozionata.
I'm still all excited. This is my son who came to see me.
È venuto a vedermi.
How was your mum? Com'era la mamma?
Ah, fantastica.
She was fantastic. I loved her. I feel very lucky. The thing that struck me the most was the rhythm they gave to the performance. Without music, that really impressed me.
Quella cosa lì mi ha colpito molto.
A me dispiace che sia finito.
I'm sorry that it's over, because we'd formed a really nice group, a collection of relationships, of rhizomes, of care. This makes us all feel better. We give a lot, but we also receive a lot.
Tantissimo. Comunque è stato molto molto bello per me.
It was a really strong and beautiful experience for me. I also let go of some things, especially during the preparation. Things I'd been carrying inside that were weighing upon me. One thing I've taken away from this project is that I now look at the trees a lot. Instead of looking at ugly things, I look around me for a tree and thank it for the oxygen it gives me. Beautiful. It's a perspective that's come out of this experience.
Mi sono commosso un sacco di volte.
I was often really moved because there was so much care from us, but also from Mia towards us. We did really well, and we also got some great feedback, which means we managed to convey our message, which is very important.
Questo è molto importante.
Mi colpisce molto che si commuovono tantissime persone.
I'm struck by how many people are moved. I often see people with tears in their eyes. I really like it when they thank us, because I feel that they've understood that we've communicated something personal to them, especially in the songs. I like it when there are so many people that we can't just make one circle, and we have to stand there counting 2, 3, 4, 5 circles for the Giro Giro Tondo to be able to accommodate everyone. It makes me feel that the performance works, and that makes me happy.
Che lo spettacolo funziona, sono contenta.
Mi emoziono, però anche mi diverto.
I get nervous, but I also have fun. If I feel good inside, I think I can communicate better. When I feel better, I guess I'm more fluid and more able. Dance well really gets under your skin. Once you let it carry you away, you never stop.
Trasportare non lo lasci più. I'm very happy and emotional. Well, it hasn't been a long journey, but it feels like it's been a long journey. And this is the last day, so it's been an emotional day and a beautiful day. And I'm happy that specifically this was the last show, because today there were less audience. And I feel the performance is quite beautiful with less audience. It's more intimate. So it was in a way a perfect ending, I felt.
It has been a journey which is not so easy, but the word and the community that they built was strong enough to support each other. So I think that has been also a healing project, because they were able to support each other, so also to live good and bad moments together and to find solutions together.
Support, community, healing. Mia Habib's score for Bassano has given its dancers a tangible experience of how to.
Quando ho cominciato a danzare,
When I
avevo un
started
corpo che poteva
dancing,
permettersi.
I had a body that could achieve all movements normally. Then I started noticing special movements and dancing with them.
Movimenti speciali e danzarci sopra.
Movimenti speciali. I like special movements. Che sono?
Sono delle distonie che
They are
rendono
dystonias that make my muscles very visible because the muscles tense up into a kind of cramp, and my feet assume positions that are original, let's say. But when this happens, I can try to make them expressive, and I find this interesting.
espressivi, ecco, questo mi interessa.
Il fatto di fare queste performance.
The fact that we do these performances really close up to people, just like we are now, looking into each other's eyes, you end up no longer being afraid to look into other people's eyes. It's dance that gives you this. I've tried so many things, complementary therapies, stopping medications, detoxing my body, but nothing makes you feel the way dance does. I'm not saying they're my only family, but they really take care of you. And not just of your body and your movements. They're there for you at other times too.
Ci sono anche negli altri momenti.
Will this project have an impact on the way you teach the Dance World classes in the future?
Yes, for sure. Because this project taught me more how to feel the connection with the dancers. Because yes, when I do the classes, I always prepare them before. But with this project, with this process, I succeeded to stay in the moment and to feel what the needs are in that moment. And also to deal with the emotions that could come up. So I think that really what I learned is to trust me and them much more.
Would you say it's also changed the group?
I think that they also learn to listen more to them and to each other, because we also worked a lot with eyes closed, and in some ways they are used to, but not all of them. And we managed to bring all the group to this ability, let's say, so they learned to trust more their bodies and also the others. So I think that's also for them a skill that they now have, also thanks to this project. When a people with Parkinson's disease comes to a class, and maybe it's the first one, usually she or he comes with desire to relearn how to move, re-trust her or himself. So for sure, the more you learn to know your body, to trust that it still has a power, the more you can feel free to move and feel free to live, to love, to listen, to enter in connection with the others, to feel the fear less.
Quell'altra cosa che percepisco,
that other thing I perceive is the possibility to feel beautiful and excellent in my movements again. It doesn't always happen, but when I manage to feel something deeply with my body when I'm dancing, I really do feel like I'm achieving a level of excellence, yes, which is something I thought I'd never have felt again, something that I could no longer achieve. With dance, in the absence of judgment of what's right or wrong, I feel I can still reach a level that makes me feel excellent.
Che mi fa sentire eccellente.